Joining me now is Andrew Weissmann, former FBI general counsel and former senior member of the Mueller investigation, and Adam Liptak, Supreme Court reporter for the New York Times. So, Andrew, first to you, what is your reading of the Trump appeal to Maine Superior Court, first of all, on this issue? And it's the same effect as Colorado's, but different procedures in the two states.
Absolutely. So in Colorado, that case went all the way already to the Colorado Supreme Court, so the highest court in that state. And the Republican Party has sought cert to the Supreme Court of the United States. Donald Trump has not yet sought to seek cert as himself as well. So that remains to be seen whether he too will do that. I'd be surprised if he doesn't. Now in Maine, we're in a slightly different situation because we have the Secretary of State, who you just played a clip of. She made her decision. That's the proper way that that procedure works in Maine. They're entitled to have their own processes. And then it goes to Maine State Court. And so there has been appeal there, and ultimately that will work its way up through the state courts there, and ultimately it may too, like Colorado, wend its way to the Supreme Court of the United States. So those are the sort of two processes in those two different states.
And this, of course, is all on the 14th Amendment and the constitutionality. And I guess, Adam, first question would be, do you think, knowing the court as you do, that Chief Justice Roberts is going to try to avoid a Bush v. Gore decisive decision on this and try to find something that involves due process, the fact perhaps that there's been no charge of insurrection or something to try to get an exit ramp for the court?
I do think he's going to want to avoid a divisive decision like Bush v. Gore. He's going to want to avoid a decision that splits 6-3 with the 6 Republican appointees in the majority, the 3 Democratic appointees in dissent. I don't think he's going to be eager to decide whether Trump's conduct amounted to engaging in insurrection. So there may be some technical ways to avoid the issue by calling it a political question, say, by saying Congress has to enact enabling legislation before the courts can act. But it's a tricky, tricky thing. And I think it's quite unwelcome at the court. But at the same time, this question really would seem to need a national resolution. And I think it's more likely than not that the court hears the Colorado case and decides it pretty quickly.
And let me ask you about immunity and the former president saying that he has immunity from Jack Smith's prosecution because he was already acquitted in the impeachment, which certainly was not within the legal system, it was within the political system.
So Trump's immunity claim is a long shot. That's going to be argued next week in the D.C. Circuit, the Federal Appeals Court in Washington. It will almost certainly, it's gone up once, the Supreme Court turned it away once, it's almost certainly going to go up again. And I think it might be attractive for the court to hear both things. Immunity, where they can rule against Trump because he's asking for something quite extraordinary, and eligibility, where they may rule for Trump, but on narrow grounds.
And Andrew Weissmann, I want to turn quickly to another development on the legal front, which is Senator Bob Menendez, and the second of 2 superseding indictments filed by a federal grand jury now alleging that he made positive statements about Qatar to help a New Jersey developer get a multi-million-dollar investment from Qatar. I want to play what Chris Christie had to say about this on CNN last night.
One of the things that shocked me the most was how cheaply you could buy a politician. I mean, $5,000 in cash in an envelope could get most elected officials. I don't understand how Chuck Schumer can't go to Mitch McConnell right now and say, look, we need to have a vote to kick him out.
Well, it could be, Andrew, because it's such a closely divided Senate. What about Menendez, though? I mean, these indictments are pretty extraordinary.
They are pretty extraordinary. You have a claim that's not only is it a sitting senator, but it's somebody who has access to the nation's most secret and important information. And the allegations, at least, are that he was for sale to two, not one, but two foreign countries. I do think that this, although stepping outside of my legal realm, it does raise the issue of why the Democratic Party is not doing what was done with respect to George Santos, where, Congress does have the ability to not wait until these charges are brought to fruition in a court of law where the standard is proof beyond a reasonable doubt, but to do an investigation and take action now. So, the shoe is on the other foot, and the allegations certainly at least appear to be quite strong and, as you noted, quite shocking.